What's up, party people? This is Maine's World, and it is party time. The newest and realest sports podcast on the planet, giving the truth to you straight. Why? Because you can't control me. I'm Jermaine Harris, and I'm your host. I hope you enjoy the show. All right, party people, welcome back to another episode of Maine's World. We got about 6 or 7 questions that came in, so let's get right to them. Our first question comes in from Coffee Black in Dallas. What is the trouble with the Dallas Mavericks? Well, Coffee Black, the easy answer is Kristaps Porzingis not being able to stay healthy. But Luka Doncic leads the team in all categories, averaging over 29 points a game, damn near 9 assists, over 9 rebounds, and I think he's even averaging 1 steal. And I say that's the easy answer, but I can't really say there's much trouble in Dallas. I mean, we can say, they play in the West and they have a harder time, but I think they played equally the same amount of Eastern Conference and Western Conference teams. So right now they sit 10th, but the Western Conference, probably from 4 to 10, is only separated by 1 loss. So in their last 10, they're 8-2 in their last 10. So they're playing well as of late. Luka Doncic is playing at an MVP type of pace. I know earlier when the season started, they had him ranked like number 4, and I was like, that's too high. But he's trying to prove me wrong. But if Porzingis is ever able to get healthy, that team can go on a little run and quite possibly, most likely, make the playoffs. So it's a little less long, being that it's only a 72-game season, but they're not that far out of the playoff hunt at that bottom half of that. But they got a veteran coach in Rick Carlisle. I can't see they need to sign anybody. Hardaway Jr. needs to play I would say a lot more consistent. But like I said, they're 8-2 in their last 10, so they're playing well as of late. We'll see what happens after the All-Star break. So they might not look like they're in good shape, but Dallas is in good shape, Coffee Black. Okay, the next question comes in from Mikey J in the Bronx. Should the NBA change the logo to Kobe Bryant? Short answer, no. And I'll tell you my reasons why. Well, the first reason is if you want to change the logo, then you have to change the logo to the GOAT, Michael Jordan. But usually organizations change logos to try to bolster their brand, improve their brand, because something is amiss and they need to rejuvenate itself, need a spark. That's not the NBA. The NBA is not in any trouble. I don't know who has a problem with the current logo, and maybe this sentiment just came from trying to honor Kobe Bryant with his untimely passing. But I don't think that the NBA needs to change the logo at all. And if so, they would have to change the logo to Michael Jordan. So that's the short answer. I mean, that's the easy answer. That's the best answer. Kobe Bryant was one of the best basketball players to ever live. I think we've done we as in the NBA and the fan base has done a good job in honoring his legacy. But changing the NBA logo is not something that needs to happen, in my opinion. Might be an unpopular stance, but nope, they don't need to change nothing. Not the logo. All right, our next question comes in from Ben in Dallas, Texas. Do you think Canelo Alvarez solidified his spot as boxing's pound for pound king with his victory this past weekend? Well, Ben, I can't say that I wasn't impressed with Canelo's victory. I wasn't impressed with the level of competition, and that's the second time in a row I've said this for an opponent of Canelo Alvarez's. So I was thinking in my mind, am I taking away from what he's doing to these opponents. Because this fight against Caleb Smith was, pretty much a no contest, and this his latest fight versus Yildirim was, I mean, it wasn't even really worth watching, to be honest with you. So, no, I can't say that I'm biased, because I believe that the pound for pound king is either Terrence Bud Crawford or Earl Spence Jr. And we won't know until we see that contest. I think I've said that in the past, but if you already had him as your pound for pound king, then he can stay as your pound for pound king with that mandatory title defense. Maybe he needs to fight some better competition. Anthony Durrell, David Benavidez, somebody. But the competition level needs to step up for a champion, a fighter of that caliber, for him to stay relevant, in my mind, in my opinion. We always talk about, people ducking people and all that, but Canelo Alvarez has been handpicking his opponents since he has moved up. Well, really his entire career, really. But I can't take anything away from his talent. I just would really love to see him fight some stiffer competition, for more entertaining fights, and for him to reach his full potential as a fighter. Stop fighting bums, basically, Canelo. Stop fighting bums. It's getting ridiculous. All right, our next question comes in again from our resident boxing enthusiast, boxing expert, Ben out of Dallas. What do you think about Claressa Shields' all-women fight card on Friday night? Well, Ben, I'm glad you sent this question in, because I'm pretty sure most people don't even know about this event. Claressa Shields and her management team, got tired of waiting for their opportunity to fight. It's all of 2020 and 2021, so they decided to put on an event to showcase women boxers. Claressa Shields is the face of women's boxing and should be at the forefront of this sport. Two-time Olympic champion and a 3-division champion as well. So I'm unsure why Claressa Shields doesn't get the notoriety of other fighters in the sport, but I'm assuming that once she takes the dip into mixed martial arts, where she has signed a contract and is planning to fight MMA, once she crosses over, it will be a much bigger draw, hopefully. She is an expert, a technician in the ring, and it's a shame that they have to put on their own event to showcase their talent. But it's a 4-fight card on Friday night. I'm pretty sure it's in Flint, Michigan, where she's from. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to support that event. I hope everybody who subscribes to this channel supports it as well. So I think it's a great idea. I think that is long overdue for her to fight, and I'm going to be looking forward to it. Next question comes in from Sam in Chicago. What fight are you most looking forward to in UFC 259? I'm looking forward to the Amanda Nunes Megan Anderson fight. This will be a nice test for Amanda Nunes. I don't foresee her having a big problem due to her striking ability and her dominance over the sport. But this Megan Anderson is 6 feet tall, 72-inch reach advantage. Amanda Nunes is 5'7", so that's a pretty decent height advantage and a pretty decent reach advantage. This girl can strike. She has power, and in the clinch, it might be a little more difficult for Amanda Nunes to get out of the clinch due to her long arms and knee ability. So I'm looking forward to that fight. I mean, the easy answer would be the style bender. Um, no, I look forward to seeing Amanda Nunes fight all the time. And after this victory, or if she pulls off this victory, which I predict she will, we got to start seeing some different type of competition come for her. She's beat everybody. She's probably will go down as, I mean, she can be up there with the pound for pound UFC fighters, men and women, after this fight. So that's the one I'm looking forward to. This question actually came in about a week ago. It's from Eric in Austin, Texas. What do you think about the deal Steve Sarkisian got to be the next head coach of Texas? Well, Steve Sarkisian got a 6-year, $34 million deal, 21 million guaranteed. I really don't necessarily have a big problem with the dollar amount because that's pretty much more or less what Tom Herman was getting paid. The problem I have with it is I don't understand why they really fired Tom Herman. They cited the poor season last year, but they went 7-3 in a pandemic season, and they lost to teams they should have lost to. Oklahoma and Iowa State was ranked higher than them when they took those losses. The only questionable loss was to TCU, but that happens. But I mean, you fire Tom Herman to hire Steve Sarkisian. Steve Sarkisian hasn't won anything in the NCAA. He hasn't won anything in college football. So that's the weird part of it. I know that, we'll say, he was the offensive coordinator for Alabama. I think he actually did coach a game for Alabama, but it's Alabama, and that's Nick Saban's team, period. The one takeaway, I guess we can bolster Nick Saban's resume for the Reclamation Project King. But I've been confused about things Texas has been doing since they benched Major Applewhite for Chris Sims, really. So it doesn't surprise me that they do weird shit. But it does weird me out that we see Steve Sarkisian as the answer to your problems when he has not been the answer to anyone's problems. So I don't expect much more out of Texas next year than I did this year. So that's my takeaway. Next question comes in from David in Chicago. What did you think about the Illinois-Michigan game last night? Well, Illinois-Michigan game last night was some Big Ten basketball. Illinois came up big. I was very impressed with Trent Frazier, doubling his average point total, coming up with 22 big points in the absence of the star junior guard, Morgan Park alumni Ayo Dosunmu, averaging 21 points a game, out with a broken nose, player of the year candidate. So for Illinois to go into Michigan without their star player and beat them by 20 was probably one of the most impressive victories you'll see in college basketball this year. So the key things that Illinois did well, rebounded. They out-rebounded Michigan probably by 20 boards, and more importantly, converted those rebounds into points. They had at least 24 second chance points. So I was very impressed with the game itself. I was very impressed with Illinois' strategy. Michigan did not shoot the ball well at all. So we will probably see that matchup down the road, as both teams will probably end up being a number 1 or 2 seed and come out of their respective brackets. So hopefully we will get to see that matchup again. But Illinois has proved that they are a very, very, very tough team. But we can't discount Michigan. They had a bad night. This was their second loss all year. So those two teams will remain, formidable opponents for anyone. But it was a great game last night. Some Big Ten basketball was bringing me back to the days of the 90s where Big Ten basketball was for real. So it's good to see Big Ten basketball back in effect. So the last question comes in from DeMarcus in Miami, Florida. What do you think about the Dolphins releasing Kyle Van Noy? Well, DeMarcus, I was confused by the move. I understand that the Dolphins saved almost $10 million in cap money, but he was just signed last year for this deal. So I don't know if the accountant couldn't count and didn't know that he was going to be paid $10 million this year. I mean, I think he lived up to the contract. I mean, Miami was like the number 6 overall defense. I think Kyle Van Noy has 6 sacks, his largest total ever, about 70 tackles, and was the captain of the defense. So I think this just puts, for me, like, I'm always confused on why people talk about why players, do certain things and they're not loyal to their contracts, or like they don't want to play for certain teams. They don't have to. But I'm pretty sure that when you go in for these interviews, that the team has just as much of a pitch for you as you have for them. So I heard he said he was disappointed. I'm sure he was, but somebody will sign him. He's a capable linebacker. I'm not sure that he's gonna receive the contract that Miami gave him. But maybe he will. I don't know. I thought it was a confusing move. Maybe Miami has got something up their sleeve and they are going after a big name quarterback. And the big name quarterback I'm talking about is Deshaun Watson, or maybe even Russell Wilson. We'll see. But teams do weird shit. And the Dolphins have been doing weird shit for quite some time. So it's not surprising. All right, party people, that's our show for today. Appreciate you being here. Hit us up at mainsworldpodcast.com to drop your questions. We're also available on YouTube. Please hit like and subscribe. Until next time, I'm Jermaine Harris, and I'm out. Why? Because you can't control me.